Imagine yourself standing at the edge of existence, peering into the infinite abyss of nothingness. What do you see? Most would describe it as emptiness, a void, a place devoid of meaning or form. Yet this emptiness, this nothingness, holds within it the key to understanding one of the greatest illusions of our lives, the illusion of duality, and the false perceptions of pleasure and pain that bind us to an endless cycle of pursuit and avoidance. Today, we explore the concept of nothingness, the truth behind the dualities we cling to, and how, by embracing the void, we can finally step into true freedom. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to see the world in opposites: night and day, light and dark, joy and sorrow, good and evil. This framework of duality simplifies our understanding of reality, breaking the infinite complexity of the universe into manageable chunks. But this simplification comes at a cost. It blinds us to the interconnectedness of all things and creates a sense of separation where there is none. Duality is an illusion, a fake narrative that distorts our perception of reality. In truth, existence does not operate in binaries. Rather, everything is part of an intricate web, constantly shifting, constantly evolving. There is no light without darkness, no joy without sorrow, no good without evil. These so-called opposites are not two distinct entities. They are two sides of the same coin, interconnected and inseparable. To grasp this idea, we can look to the teachings of ancient spiritual traditions. In Zen, for example, duality is seen as a distortion of the mind. The real world, the true essence of life, exists beyond these opposites in a state of oneness. The moment we cling to duality, we fall into delusion. The Zen masters would often speak of emptying the mind, a practice aimed at dissolving this very illusion. When we empty our minds of duality, we begin to see the world as it truly is, unified, whole, and interconnected. Nowhere is the illusion of duality more evident than in our understanding of pleasure and pain. From an early age, we are taught to chase pleasure and avoid pain. Pleasure, we are told, is the ultimate goal of life, the reward for our efforts, the measure of our success. Pain, on the other hand, is something to be feared, avoided at all costs. But what if this binary perception of pleasure and pain is, in itself, an illusion? Much like duality, the concepts of pleasure and pain are mental constructs, created to help us navigate the complexities of life. But they are fleeting, impermanent. Pleasure, while desirable, is always temporary. It comes and goes like a passing breeze, leaving us in a constant state of longing for more. Pain, too, is transient, though it often feels more persistent because we resist it so strongly. What if we were to stop seeing pleasure as something to cling to and pain as something to avoid? What if we could embrace both with equanimity, understanding that neither defines us? By doing so, we begin to dissolve the boundaries that create suffering. We come to realize that pleasure and pain are two expressions of the same energy, part of the ebb and flow of life. Both are temporary experiences, not eternal truths. Consider this: pleasure does not exist without pain. They are two aspects of the same experience, just as joy is intertwined with sorrow. The more we resist one, the more we cling to the other, creating a cycle of suffering that keeps us trapped in duality. But when we step beyond this duality, we find that pleasure and pain are just two waves in the vast ocean of existence, neither good nor bad, just experiences to be observed, to be witnessed, and to be let go of. Beyond duality, embracing nothingness. When we strip away the illusion of duality and stop clinging to pleasure or avoiding pain, what remains? Nothingness. But this nothingness is not the absence of everything. It is the presence of infinite potential. It is the ground of all being, the canvas upon which existence is painted. In spiritual traditions like Buddhism and Taoism, nothingness is often described as emptiness or the void. But this emptiness is not a negative space. It is the fertile ground from which all things arise and into which all things return. It is the womb of creation, the formless source of all form. To embrace nothingness is to let go of the need for constant validation, constant pursuit, constant clinging. It is to understand that true freedom lies not in having or being, but in simply existing, free from the illusions that bind us. It is a state of pure awareness, beyond the dualities of pleasure and pain, good and evil, light and dark. In this state, we find peace, not the fleeting peace that comes from satisfying desires, but a deep, abiding peace that arises from the recognition that all things are transient, and that beyond the dance of duality lies the stillness of the void. The role of nothingness in spiritual growth. Nothingness is not just an abstract concept, it is a practical tool for spiritual growth. By embracing nothingness, we begin to detach from the illusions that cause suffering. We stop chasing pleasure and avoiding pain, and instead we learn to observe both without attachment. We realize that our true essence is not defined by what we experience, but by the awareness that observes these experiences. In this way, nothingness becomes the doorway to enlightenment. It is through the acceptance of the void that we come to understand the true nature of existence. We see that life is not a battle between opposites, but a seamless flow of energy, constantly transforming, constantly evolving. And in this flow we find our place not as separate beings, but as integral parts of the whole. In the end, the illusion of duality dissolves into the vast expanse of nothingness. Pleasure and pain lose their grip on us, and we step into a space of infinite potential. By embracing nothingness, we free ourselves from the chains of illusion and step into the truth of our existence, that we are not defined by the fleeting experiences of life, but by the eternal awareness that observes them. This is the path of liberation. This is the journey into nothingness.